Spirit set me free from the things that can come to distract me from the glory of your face. Your kingdom come, your will be done, Lord. Heaven on earth, inside and all around me, for the glory of your name. Your presence, Lord, my heart's desire to be my flesh may fade, its source is you. When I fail to see just what you offer me, you gently turn me to your sanctuary. You gently turn me so that all I see is you. All I need is you. All I need is you. It's you, you. All I need is you. Oh, it's you, you. All I need is you. All I need is you. It's you, you. All I need is you. Oh, all I need is you. Oh, sustainer of my life, my refuge, my delight, my portion satisfied, my God is you. Defender and my shield, the source for every need, my comforter and peace, my God is you. The shepherd of my soul, renewer of my hope, my resting place and my security. God is you, only you. It's only you, you. All I need is you. You, you. All I need is you. My dearest companion, it's good to be near you.
Well, hello. Welcome to Embrace Live. We're back. We had a bit of a little break last week because your host, and let me just introduce myself if we've not met before. My name is Dave Dixon. I've got the privilege of being part of Embrace Church in Darlington, part of the team over there. And so I'm covered just up to my right here. If maybe I can just grab one on camera. I had a little bit of a birthday celebration last Wednesday night. One of those with a zero in it. And I know what you're thinking. I don't look a day over 60. I know that. So we just had a bit of a night off, had a bit of a family gathering and so on like that. So let's just get that out of the way. But welcome to Embrace Live. So if you've never tuned in before, this is something that we like to do. We've been going for about, I think it's about 14 weeks or so now. We've done 14 episodes, all of which are available on the Embrace Church Facebook page or the Embrace Church YouTube channel. And we've kind of covered a range of topics, a range of people, and I love doing these because so far I've just really got in touch with all my kind of buddies across different churches in the Tees Valley doing different things, and said, do you fancy coming on one evening? And I'm really excited tonight as we continue this series, which is focusing on leaders and people who lead, not churches, but, organisations and different charities, events and things, which are church-based, Christian-based, across the Tees Valley. So even though Embrace Church is in Darlington, and I like to say this each episode, really just to emphasise the point that actually there's only one church, and that's God's church with a capital C. And there are lots of little churches as part of that. There we live in our groups of people who, and I like to say that we have different flavours. All right, so like I said, there's only one church, and it's great that we can kind of come together and highlight the fantastic things that churches are doing across the kind of northeast and beyond, really. So like I said, I'd like to get my buddies together and kind of just have a chat with them. I'm really excited because over on my monitor, I always refer to over here, my secondary monitor here, I've got two wonderful people who I've known for a very long time. We kind of lost touch for a while, but then I kind of met them again in later life. So met them when I was a child, and maybe we'll cover a bit of that, and then met them in later life. And I'm just going to cut across it. So tonight we've got, let's see, we have Brian and Stella. Brian and Stella, how are you doing? Are you all right?
Hi there. Yes, good to be here. It really is. Yeah.
Brilliant. So I'm going to talk for just a little bit longer, and then I'm going to bring you in if that's all right, and we'll have a chat and we'll see how we go. We've got our coffee sorted now, so we can just hear all about the amazing work that you do at the Moses Project. And for those people who don't know that, really, we want to know what is the Moses Project and talk about how it came about and what you're doing and where it's going and all of those kind of things and how we could support the Moses Project. Is that all right? So I'll come back to you in a moment or two, if that's okay. So they're amazing people, they really are. And, I've been privileged enough to kind of go down to the Moses Project a number of times, attending different events there and being involved in a small way. But that is really just my, a fraction of what goes on in the Moses Project, and I'm really looking forward that we can all get together and listen to that, Brian and Stella. But what we want to do is we do want to make it an interactive session. So what I can see as people are tuning in, please feel free to comment. We would love you to comment, and we'd love you to kind of post your questions and things for Brian and Stella to be able to answer as we go along. Really, we will take time to answer those questions and dive in, so I can see them. We'll put them on screens for Brian and Stella to be able to see, and we'd love to be able to kind of make this an interactive experience rather than you just sitting there watching wherever you're watching from, either live now or maybe you're catching it a little bit later on. Okay, so like I said, this series is all about leaders of different organisations, events, charities in the local area. And I've got a bit of an intro, and then, like we said, we'll bring Brian and Stella back in here. So here's the leaders intro, and then we'll talk with Brian and Stella. Thank you. So, Brian and Stella, hello. How are we doing? Are we all right?
Hello.
Good. Yeah. I'm just going to see if I can just bring Stella in, because she's kind of just slipped off the screen a little bit there. And I'm going to move you across because, don't be camera shy. There we go. All right, and we can hear you, we can see you. That's great. And we were admiring your newly decorated wall behind you a little bit early on, but we want to see your lovely faces and stuff like that. So great to have you with us, and obviously it's great to have people join us. I'm just going to say a quick hello to Sue, who's joined us. Sue goes to Embrace Church, and actually she's got Bill with her as well. I know that she does a lot to care for Bill, and they're amazing. Both of them are amazing individuals and absolute legends. So we're really pleased that you can join us. And I know there's other people who have joined us earlier on. Kevin said, "Go for it," which is always a good motivational kind of phrase, isn't it? So we are going to go for it tonight. We are going to, just see where we kind of get to and have a bit of a chat and so on. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Great. So like I said, I'm going to try not to speak too much, but I can't help myself because if you notice some of the titles that was in that little intro video, it said leader, it said pace setter, innovator, and shepherd, and things. I know those are big words that I've deliberately chosen as part of the titles on there. And from what I know and from what I know of you two and met you two and seen the little part that I've seen happening at the Moses Project, again, I find it's you would tick all of those boxes as a couple. You're amazing. You do those titles, and what you do, I find, and I know many others find it so inspirational. All right, so we want to get into what the Moses Project does, but first of all, we want to know a little bit about you. Do you want to give yourself a bit of a kind of intro? Just tell us who you are. We know that your name's Brian and Stella, and you're involved in the Moses Project. But
can I just put in, what you just said about leader, and you went through them. I mean, both of us, we just said the same. It doesn't sound like us, but the one thing that we are called to do is shepherd. So that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's great that we, because I see that absolutely, and what you're doing, and we're going to hear a lot about that, I'm sure. Tell us a little bit about yourself then. Maybe for example, we've done a series on people's stories. Where they told us a little bit about how they came to know Jesus, make a decision for themselves to follow Jesus. Let me just, obviously not everybody who tunes in might be a churchgoer. I try and avoid the kind of the churchy stuff, the churchy speak, because we can fall into that if we've done the church thing like I have for a number of years. Not that we want to avoid church completely, but just the lingo that doesn't make sense to maybe some people. So let me ask you a question straight away. Are you both Christians? Have you both made that decision to follow Jesus?
Yes, we are. Can I just say, first of all, though, when you put up that the balloon, the big 5-0, that made me feel really old, because I do remember you as a child.
Yeah.
And I thought, is it that long? Is it that many years? And I've just aged about 25 years there.
Sorry about that. I must admit, when I was doing that, I thought, I wonder how they're going to react to this. Maybe that wasn't the most sensitive of me.
No, sorry, David.
Yeah, that's all right. No problem at all.
We've been a Christian for approximately 20 years. Stella was first, and we were going through a difficult time at that time. We were in business for donkey's years, and then we had a big cash and carry, selling handbags, shopping bags, purses, and shops and market stalls. And then, bit of a long story, but someone took us for quite a bit of money.
Right.
And that caused us major financial problems at the time.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, we had this lady who came to the house to help us to babysit. Our children were only small, to babysit and to clean. And she was coming to us a couple of days a week or so. And she said to me once when I was working from home, "Do you mind if I put my churchy music on?" So she put a churchy music on, and I thought, this isn't sort of onward Christian soldiers, the churchy Christian music that I know. Yeah. I know now it was Hillsongs, but I didn't know at the time, And what we didn't realise is that lady was praying for us for 8 long, faithful years. Wow. Amazing, 8 long, faithful years. So we're going through a difficult time. Stella went off to church with Eve, with this lady. I saw Stella. We were both het up about this, couldn't sleep at night, couldn't rest, didn't know where to go. Yeah. I saw Stella and go on the Alpha course. And this peace came upon her. You know, it was just amazing, really. And then every Sunday she was going on to me saying, will you come to church with me? Will you come to church? No, I'm not going to church. I don't want to go to stuff like that.
No, I'll put you right and said, nah, I'm watching Coronation Street.
All right, okay.
Well, yeah, that was important to me at the time. Not so much now, but anyway, yeah. So, yeah, anyway, it's all I can say that in the end, I went for peace for the sake of peace because she was really annoying me.
Wearing you
But
down.
when I walked in church, I found my peace, and I just felt as if I'd come home. You know,
Wow.
I went on the Alpha course, and that changed our lives completely.
Yeah.
And that was back in 1998, 99. You know, that changed our lives totally. Yeah. So it's amazing. It's been an amazing journey since that day. Never thought we'd be doing what we are doing, but hey, that's God, isn't it?
Yeah, amazing. So, you know, I mean, actually, it's great you mentioned the Alpha course because actually, in a number of these episodes, and if you're tuning in and you haven't seen any of the previous ones and you've got some spare time, really recommend that you know, kind of go through them and watch them when, you know, you get a chance to.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how many people that we've been chatting to have been talking about actually the importance of, or a life-changing experience at the Alpha course. And the Alpha course, if you're not sure, is run by many churches in lots of different locations, and it's really informal, often over a series of meetings together, often over food, which is always a good motivator, I found. You know, I'm obviously motivated a lot by food. You can tell that by my slight frame. And so, you know, but you get the opportunity to grill a Christian, one of these God botherers, you know, so, you know, ask these questions, go along, you know, and go and ask really awkward and difficult questions, because that's the whole point of it. And, you know, it's amazing how many people in their discussion, and you know, maybe go with one motive in mind, but actually find out often and encounter Jesus for themselves and make that commitment to follow Jesus for the rest of their lives, really, which is amazing. So, you know, look out for Alpha. We can certainly, if you want to get in touch, you know, if you want to DM us and we can put you in touch with a church maybe near you that's running Alpha. I know that we do it as Embrace Church, and there's many other churches who would love to just have a conversation and meet you and do that. And we won't bash the Bible over your head. It's come over, you know, and dead informal and things like that. So it's great. Okay. So part of the story is, obviously, I mentioned to you as a child, and it was really because you're friends with my mum, my mother.
Yes,
you know,
that's right.
Yeah, my ma, you know, Ma Dixon was actually featured on one of these, you know, telling her story, her testimony. You know, obviously in her experiences, and she did briefly mention your good selves as part of that story, and said that's how she got to know you as well. So that was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was funny because obviously, Brian, you and I had met when I was a child. Now, you know, like I said, I don't want to date you too much, but it was, I think, let me see, I want to say, well, I'm trying to think about where we used to live at the time, so I must have been about, I don't know, 10, 11, I think at that point. Maybe a little
I know exactly where you lived.
Yeah. And you used to live down the road, didn't you, on the same, you know, kind of area?
Yes, opposite miles from you.
Yeah, and it was funny because... you know, Brian, you know, because it had been such a long time and my memory isn't great, I'd met you at a few different kind of church events, and, you know, what a great fella and so on like that, but I hadn't put the two together because it hadn't been so long, and I hadn't chatted with my mother about it, you know, obviously mentioning yourselves. But then I remember being at the Moses Project Foundation House and for a Connect event, which was, you know, maybe we can chat a bit more about that happening.
Yeah.
And it was funny because, you know, obviously I chatted, but I hadn't seen Stella for a long time, and that was the first time that I see. And do you know what it was? It was the weirdest kind of moment. I just heard your voice, and that just triggered a memory in me. And I thought, I know that voice, you know, and then obviously then it kind of put it together. So it was a great kind of moment, and it was a lovely moment. Just kind of like, oh, right, yes, of course. So, you know, that was a few years ago now, but like I said, we've already, you know, kind of dated you and you know, made you feel far too old, so we can move on from that. All right. Before we go any further, I just want to say, you know, just add to anything. We've got Simon who's joined in. It's from Junction 7. I don't know, have you met Simon before? Simon Day?
Yeah. Yes.
And Jane?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously another fantastic couple like yourselves who are really, you know, doing amazing things.
Amazing work over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Amazing work,
absolutely. And, you know, again, it's great to have Simon and Jane as, you know, kind of members and of Embrace Church. And again, it's something that we are looking to support as much as we can and for more in the future as well. So again, they're a brilliant couple just like yourselves that have really got a heart for the community and making a difference in people's lives and stuff like that. So it's great to have Simon joining us as well. Okay. So we know that you obviously, you've told us then you're one of these Christian types who have committed yourselves through an alpha course to follow Jesus for the rest of your life and stuff like that, which is amazing. Has your life been perfect since that point?
By no means, no, at all. No.
So let's just get rid of that kind of, you know, false impression that some people can have that life is just perfect after that. That's not the case because, you know, it has lots of ups and downs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
We've had some difficult times. Yeah, we've had some difficult times, even with the Moses, some difficult times, but God has always been faithful, always been there, you know. And you learn as you go on. The difficult times are like a learning curve, really. Yeah. You learn to trust more and go deeper with God and trust more in God in the difficult times, you know.
Yeah. Trust and rely.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all you've got left. You know, you've hit a brick wall. Yeah. You've got no choice. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rely on him, and that's it. Yeah.
So let's obviously we've mentioned the Moses Project a number of times now, and for those people who maybe are tuning in and are not familiar with the Moses Project, can you tell us a brief kind of description of what the Moses Project is, and then we can dive a bit deeper in after that.
Yeah. Can I go back a little bit to our history? Is that okay?
Yeah,
at that particular church that we were going to at that time, there was a coffee bus going out from there into Stockton Town Centre on a Wednesday night, 8 till midnight, and what was called in Middlesbrough over the border on a Friday, 8 till midnight. Mm-hmm. And Stella, they wanted a bus driver, and Stella put my name down for a bus to drive the bus. And the very people we're working with now, can I just say, I used to hate them with a passion, absolutely hate them with a passion, because they used to come into our shops and steal from us, and, you know, they were an absolute nuisance, always pinching from the shops and market stalls and that, you know.
Yeah.
And this was in me very, very early Christian days, and I said to Stella, I'm not going to drive that bus, I'm not going. But Stella said, well, I am going. So we had a few words about it, because I said, you can't, this will happen to you, that will happen to you, you know?
Yeah.
Totally wrong. I was totally wrong. But Stella went ahead, and I went to protect her, really. But we had to go to a training course, and I heard stories, life stories from people who the bus had helped to change. And I heard stories about their childhood, growing up as a child, how they grew up in a world of drink and drugs, how they grew up in a world of violence, how they grew up being abused.
Yeah.
And they had no chance as a child, you know. And the bus was like their saving grace. And I heard these stories, and I met some wonderful people there.
Right.
So we went on the bus with my eyes open. And again, we met some wonderful, wonderful people just stuck in that world of addiction, couldn't break free. The bus stopped after 18 months or so through lack of funding, lack of support. But we just carried on the streets of Stockton and walking up back alleys and everywhere. Not the wisest thing to do, going up back alleys on a night and just looking
brave
for
thing
people.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know. And at that time, there was a skip in Stockton behind where the shops were. It's all different in those days. There's big name shops there.
Yeah.
Some of those skips were just full of cardboard. And we used to find men sleeping in those cardboard. Same story, no support, no help, no nothing. So that's how we started working with men over the age of 25. So we were doing that for quite a few years. And I was praying about Stockton, praying about it. And the vision arose from our street work to have a drop-in, but a drop-in with a difference. A drop-in where there's lots of support, lots of help for them. Yes, they come for the food, but when they come for the food, that's when there's a big network of support there. And so the Moses was born on the 1st of September 2011. It was 18 months in the making. Stella was a nurse working part-time. She went back full-time, and it was her wages really that got going, didn't it?
We used to get to midnight, and then the money would go in the bank, and Brian would be down at the cash machine drawing it out for the Moses project.
Yeah.
Because we had no funds at that point.
Yeah, and that was how
you were a kept man then, Brian. You know, sort of Stella's doing all the hard work. So you know, it sounds like, you know, we're picking up here that Stella's very persuasive. First of all,
Yes.
she got you along to an Alpha course, and then she got you involved in this bus driving. You know, where obviously you weren't
Yes.
too keen.
Yes.
And then from that, which is, you know, I mean, on a serious note, is it fair to say that you're obviously your opinion, your perception of people that you, because you said you were quite strongly, I'm not going to do that. I don't like those kind of people that were causing you a lot of difficulties in terms of theft and things at the time.
Well,
but then you had your heart change, your eyes open to the
well,
difficulties.
That is the amazing thing, and it's an absolute miracle, you know.
Yeah.
Amazing thing. God's turned that from a heart of anger towards these people, and just hating these people, to a heart of love and just loving these people.
Yeah.
And that is this amazing thing, and we just love the people now. We bring them in like a family. We've had them staying with us at home in the past. We've had people coming home, and those who are homeless, we put them up at home, you know. We don't recommend that, by the way. We don't want other people to do that, but this is how good from there.
This is your experience. This is your part of your story then of how it's kind of grown. So, you know, you said there that Stella, obviously, as well as being persuasive, she was the hard worker because she was going to work. You know, even though you know, part-time nurse, which is hard enough, you know, she goes back full time, and you know, like you said there, that you're doing all the hard graft, and Brian, you're drawing it out obviously the next morning to actually fund your work with these difficult people.
You see, in all the 40 years of being married, I've found out who the boss is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think within about 30 seconds, we all knew from your story who the boss is.
It's 45 years.
It's 45 years.
Yeah.
No, we just make a really good team.
Yeah.
We really support each other. An amazing team that God's put us together.
Well, you know, you must be an amazing team to be together for so long, and then obviously to be doing what you're doing. You know, obviously, you need a huge strength of relationship, and I know that in that relationship, I'm sure you would put God in that as well as a strengthener, and absolutely, yeah. So you kind of drawing out your money, and you're funding your own activities, finding, you know, guys over 25 sleeping in cardboard in skips. You've said so. Where did it go from there?
Yes. That was in the very, very early days. That was in the before the Moses, when we walk in the streets. So the Moses was born sort of out of that really, and it was 18 months in the making. Was the Moses doing lots of research, and also finding a home for it. Where can we go? What can we do? And I approached the leadership of the Rivers of Life Church in Bowsfield Lane in Scotland, which is right in the heart. And I approached them to open it 2 days a week. I thought that's all that was needed, this drop-in, 2 days a week. Again, I was totally wrong. So I approached the leadership for that. So we opened this drop-in where they can come in, have a hot meal, play games in there. And there was a few there trying to give them the help and support with housing and with moving on and getting them into rehab, you know. We had links with the Teen Challenge rehab, so we get people, it's a Christian rehab, get people in rehab fairly quickly. But that within months, we were there 4 days a week, you know. We knew that we had to open more 4 days a week. And we were getting in about 100 people per day. Never expected that.
Wow.
We bargained for about 50 people. Yeah, at the most, very most, 30 to 50. But we were touching 100 people per day.
So these were people. So you had about 100 people who were you know, in a variety of difficult situations. That's probably an understatement, but you know, suffering with addictions of different kinds, and is that right? And you know, homelessness and you know those kind of things, and you were giving them a place to come to, at least where they can have a hot meal and you know relax and enjoy, and trying to support them, particularly with their addictions, and you know where possible, getting them into a rehab. You mentioned there. Wow, that 100 people. Wow, I hadn't realised it was that many.
Yeah, it was.
Initially, it was for the food. That was the big thing. There were hungry people coming in for food.
Hungry people.
Yeah. But when they came in for the food and the games and that, they sat there for the day, and we were able to talk to them and able to help them and give them that extra support and talk to them about housing, talk to them about their lives. We helped them with probation, helped them with doctors. Many of them didn't know who their doctor was, didn't have a GP. And they would come in with blood coming from their legs and this and the other, where they've been putting needles in them and in the arms. So we used to take them to the doctors. But first of all, we had to do lots of research who the doctors were, you know, and found the doctors. But we would never, if we made an appointment for someone, even now, we would never send anyone to that appointment because they wouldn't turn up. We will take them along. And then we would go and buy them a cup of coffee or a McDonald's or back of that and go and have a chat with them, just sitting in McDonald's on a one-to-one, just talking to them about their lives, you know?
Yeah.
And
Brian,
so in a nutshell, the Moses is about changing lives.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Whether you do it in the community or you do it in the rehab, it's about making life better and changing lives.
That's the main focus. Yeah.
So listen, at this point, you're in the Rivers of Life Church, and you've gone from 2 days drop in to 4 days very quickly. You said, and you know, obviously 100 people a day is huge, and you know these people have got real, you know, challenging circumstances, addictions, lots of different things like that. Who else? Was it just you two doing this, or did you have other people who were kind of going alongside and helping?
At the time, when we opened the doors, first day, there was only 3 of us, myself and 2 of the chaps were there. Stella was working full time, I would say. It was their money that was going into it.
She was earning the money, absolutely.
Yeah, she was earning the money to keep the Moses going.
Yeah.
But we quickly found, probably it wasn't the right volunteers at that time, but we quickly found other volunteers to sort of help us. You know, God's always provided people.
Yeah.
May not have been the right ones, but different volunteers came and went. So we had that sort of extra support in the background. Slowly we built a really good team there, you know, for volunteers. And then we were there for quite some years. We outgrew that place fairly quickly, and we started looking around for a rebuilding sort of our own, you know.
Yeah.
And we went to many buildings, and for different reasons we were knocked back. And then we managed somebody, actually, some nice kind person with their charity. I don't know whether you want me to mention the name. I'm quite happy to do so.
Yeah, want to, please.
Yeah, well, it was Albert Dickin was one of our supporters, and Albert Dickin runs the Goshen Trust.
Yeah.
And I've got to know Albert really, really well. And I often used to have coffee with Albert, and I found his wisdom was just amazing. I used to go out for coffee sometimes with him and just chat to him over the phone about different things, you know, and he was amazing help. And Albert put people my way as well. He told me to talk to other people who were running charities and just go and have a coffee with them and get their sort of feedback, and it was really, really helpful. So I mentioned to Albert that we were desperately looking for a rebuilding. Then about 18 months later, Albert came to me to say that he's come across this church in Alma Street that is for sale. And he said to me, would you like it? And I thought, God, that's amazing, you know.
Yes, please.
So we went to see it. I thought it was great for us. So Albert bought it through the Goshen Trust for us. And it's just been an amazing journey. And that was, we bought it, well, I bought it in 2017, got the dates right here, I'm sure, yeah.
2018.
Yeah, 2017 when it was bought. It hadn't been used as a church for years, and the inside of it was a bit of a mess. It had been used as a community centre on a daily basis. And it was quite sad to see a building that was built as a church, God's building, with all the doors hanging off and no door would close. And it was in a bit of a state.
Some work to do then.
We had a team of volunteers from different churches who used to come in and paint and repair. And again, God was amazing. I wanted to build a coffee bar and build a smoking area, like a patio smoking area out the back for them, and a bit of other building work as well. And one of our latest volunteers at that time, really quiet girl, called Sue, really quiet girl, one of our volunteers, was just in the kitchen making teas and coffees. And when we wanted to move building, she just said to me, "We can help you with that building, And I didn't think anything of it. I said, "No." I said, "Oh, can you? Yeah, okay, that's fine." And then about a week later, she said again, "We can help you with that building, Could my husband come round to have a look?" And I was thinking they just want to pick up a paintbrush to do a bit of painting. So I met the husband there walking round, and he said, "What work do you want to do here?" I said, "Well, there's quite a bit of painting." No, what building work do you want to do? And it turned out that he was only the director of a national building company.
Right.
So I said to him, "I want to build a coffee bar here." He said, "No problem, we can do that." I couldn't believe it,
Wow.
but only be God. Then I said about the smoking bay. He said, "That's okay, we can do that." And other jobs in there, putting the doors right and new door handles. He said, "That's okay, we can do that, And he sent in a team of men, absolutely amazing.
One of the things that really spoke to me was when we went into this building, we obviously had our money that we would have been running the project with.
Yeah.
But it was, very often we run on fumes, we don't know where the next penny's coming from.
Yeah.
But when we went in there, it didn't even have a hot water tank. It was £5,000 to get a hot water tank.
Wow.
And we put a bid in with Screwfix, and can you believe what was the cheque we got? £5,000.
Wow.
And these were the things that were happening, things that we really needed. As it came up, the money came in. We didn't have a fridge or something like that we needed, and someone gave us £500 so that we could put that in the kitchen. It was, miracle after miracle.
Yeah.
And I can remember on Christmas, we didn't have an oven. That was, we've had like 154 in there on Christmas Day, for a Christmas dinner.
Wow.
And we were worried how we were going to cook all these turkeys. And lo and behold, someone gave us a cheque to buy the correct oven that would do it. And we had it in for Christmas, and we cooked our turkeys.
Amazing.
So I'm not saying it's like Father Christmas, but every need was met.
Yeah, God was so faithful.
And when we didn't need it, it all stopped. But praise God for what He did do.
Yeah.
In that short time we were working on the building, strangers, members of the public, were coming to the door and just giving us £50, £100. We didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. And then, as Stella said, once we were in and the work completed, all that
stopped.
Yeah, because we didn't need it anymore. And it reminded me of Moses. Yeah, Moses out with his people. The manna, the bread. When they needed that food, it was there.
Yeah.
When they didn't need the food, it stopped coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that is that where you got the kind of the name the Moses Project from, or was it already called that?
No. We the Moses the name came from God.
Yeah.
I can tell you it's a bit of a funny tale how it happened, but I can tell you the full tale how the name we came across the name. Back in when I was going to have a meeting with the church leaders, I'd done like a business plan.
Yeah.
And I've done some cash flows, and I've done I've done the story about what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a name. I just didn't have a name for the project at all. That bit was like blank, you know.
Yeah.
And I knew God had gave me the vision. I was saying to God, God, I want a name. I want a name. And I was reading through the Bible, reading through Christian books, and couldn't find a name at all. Couldn't get this name. And then on January the 30th, 2011, at 4 p.m., I got the urge to have a number 2. Don't know why, I just did. But I did number 2. And I was really angry with God because I was due in a week or two to go and speak to the leadership, you see, of this church. By this time, I got really angry, and I'd had a bit of a anger moment. And I was marching upstairs, stamping my feet. God, you've got to give me the name. Got to give me a name. Got to give me a name. And I sat down, closed the door, sat down on the toilet.
Please don't go into too much description at this point.
Right. Massive. Well, I'm just telling you how it happened.
Okay.
Massive TV screen right in front of me, and in full colour, there was Moses with his people, leading his people out. And behind, I saw the little children running round. I saw the cart with all the gold on. Saw the sheep. I saw the cattle herding them out. You know, I saw the donkeys. There was people sat on donkeys. I saw this full colour. Absolutely, hundreds of thousands of people just marching out in full colour. Moses at the front with the staff.
Yeah.
And I said, "That's it. It's all about taking people from a life of slavery to a life of freedom."
Amen.
It's the Moses Project. And when I said that, the screen went off. That was it. This TV screen.
And that's why on our badges, I don't know if you can see them. Can you see it on there or not? Can you see?
Not quite, but I'll tell you what I'll do is, because I have got the
guidance and direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. I've obviously got some contact details there, and we can see, but it's got the logo on there, so it's probably a bit easier to see.
That's it there. That is the motive there.
Yeah.
So you're taking them from slavery into freedom.
Yeah. So the blue is actually the River Nile, the blue, and the green is the people walking through the River Nile, and the red dot is Moses at the front leading them through. Yeah.
Love it.
That's our
Amazing.
logo. Yeah.
Wow, so, obviously God can speak in lots of different ways and at different points, but even whilst, things are happening on the throne, shall we say. So, amazing. That is a bit of a, funny kind of stuff. Let me pause there for a moment just to kind of welcome a few other people who've joined us and just saying hello. So, Philip is another great friend of mine. He's also a member of Embrace Church, but we've also got other people joining us that, again, that you might be familiar with, might have heard.
Oh, Adele.
Adele, yeah, might, again, it might just be people who are just tuning in and maybe come across this on Facebook or whatever. And others like that. Margaret is watching with us as well, and there's always a good kind of faithful viewer, should we say, of this. So just wanted to say to people, again, I mean, I'm loving hearing the story so far, and it's great to hear Brian and Stella just tell us that story and amazing incidents that happen on the throne and things like that, inspiration coming from different places. But listen, if you're watching and you've got some questions and some comments, we'd love to be able to respond to those as well. So please post them online, and then I can put them onto the screen and we can kind of pause and do that. So where we're up to, we basically, you've been provided a building.
Yes.
You talked about the word miracle. So the miracle of the building came along. Obviously, you then talked about the miracle of providing building work, stuff that you had. Obviously, things like the fridge freeze, the kind of the cooker to be able to do. So things that were needed, then just almost God provided, like you say, miraculously provided, which is amazing. And when you didn't need things, then that dried up, So okay, right. So you've got the building, Alma Street you mentioned, which is right in the centre of Stockton, and then what happened then? How did that kind of building allow you to kind of do more of what you wanted to do in terms of the vision for the Moses Project? Then?
I mean, we were working with different agencies then. Different agencies were aware of us, and we were working with them. But once we got the building, it seemed to step us up further level as far as other agencies were concerned. And they started sending people to us, and the homeless section, Stockton Council, are now working very, very closely with us, probation, very, very closely with us.
Yeah.
And what we've always wanted right from day one is all these agencies to work out of our building. And that's started to happen. I know we've had lockdown, so it stopped at the moment, but before lockdown, all these agencies were starting to work outside from our building.
Fantastic,
you know? And it was just amazing that we were starting the vision of the Moses, the long-term vision, is to have a life-changing centre in Stockton. It's a one-stop shop where people can go to and get help if they want to. And this is a stepping stone. And this is part of it, to have the different agencies all together in one place, so they can see someone and talk to someone. And that is starting to happen now. You know, we can see it now starting to form. So we've got different agencies coming in, even the police coming as well. The other thing in there, it allows us, we've got more room. We have a large room at the front that allows us to do events in there. We do music lessons, we do acting, we do arts and crafts, we teach them maths and English, because a lot of them can't read or write. We do small group work, which include other agencies to come along as well. You know?
Another blessing that we got, we really wanted a minibus.
Yes.
And we were blessed with one, and it was to do a walk and talk project. So Mondays, I mean, it's been a bit different this year, hasn't it, than last year? But we used to take them out, and it'd be a long walk. We would go on, we'd have a packed lunch, we would stop. We used to aim for about 8 to 10 miles we would walk.
Yeah.
We'd stop halfway, have the packed lunch. But while we're walking, we're talking, and all the hurts. And, you know, you're privileged that they'll tell you all the things, and you get to know them intimately, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
you make such a difference. And we call that our walk and talk project, don't we?
Yeah.
And we're keen to get that back up and running now.
Yeah.
There's so many things. I mean, Brian's taken them whitewater rafting, he's been Beamish, takes them bowling. It's just about showing them there's a different life, one where there's fun.
Yeah.
And even on a Thursday night, because what we said was, holistically, we want to cover everything that we can do to make a difference to the guys. And in particular, you know, we feed them all the time. We give them food, sandwiches to go home with many donations. But we were feeding them, but we weren't feeding them as much spiritually as what we wanted. And then God blessed us in Junction 42, and then we connected with them, and it was called Connect. And so on a Thursday night between 7 and 9:30, we had this on a Thursday night. So they had praise and worship, they had a hot meal, and they heard a testimony that gave hope, and they could have prayer. They had the word and they had prayer, but it was very, very loose, not heavy. These people had never been in the church and wouldn't have known how to behave in the church.
Yeah.
Sometimes the church wouldn't allow them in. That's what they used to tell us.
Yeah.
So that was a real blessing. And the other thing is, we've got loads of success stories to tell you about. But we also have those where people have died. But you know what? With Stockton Connect, I mean, there's one in particular. There's a young guy went missing, and is believed to have been murdered, actually. Okay. But when we came across, we'd had Barry Woodward there, once an addict, and he went forward and he gave his life. So we know where he is. Do you know what I mean? Amazing. So you get it from both angles. Yeah. You know, when you go to a wedding, when somebody's been addicted and they're getting married and they have, you know, it's really emotional, very emotional. Yeah. And then the other side, when you lose somebody, just as emotional. Yeah. But knowing that, you know, Stockton Connect has done its work. There was another 2 that had actually died during this lockdown period. Right. But again, they went forward, they were reading the Bibles, they were praying, we know where they are now. So I think that's a fantastic testimony in itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, again, you obviously you're encountering many individuals with lots of real challenges in life, and like you say, addictions, and the Foundation House, the building that you now were able to kind of work out of became a hub for different services, and it's great that like you say, working in partnership with non-church based organisations like you say, Stockton Borough Council, etc., and working together to make real differences, and like you said earlier, Stella, to make real life-changing transformation within people's lives, and that's the whole point of like you say, the Moses Project and the vision there, really, and getting support. And I think,
and let's not miss out, we have a lot of fun. We do have a lot of fun. Do you know what I mean?
Stuff.
It's like a social club, really.
Yeah.
They get the newspapers, they sat round the table, they're playing pool and air hockey and table tennis. And it's a really nice environment. And then if they're really struggling, so for housing or for the benefits, the computers are there, we can take them through.
Yeah.
We can do everything that we can to make their life better and change it.
It's amazing.
So,
yeah. And that's important, that they feel welcome and they feel part of the almost like a family, because
family.
Again
it is family.
It is.
And it's
they feel loved for the first time.
Yeah.
They do, the first time in their lives. Many of them have said this, that they feel that they belong, they feel part of us. And we're not afraid to talk about love. We're not afraid to tell them that they are loved, they are really precious. Obviously not the very first time we meet them when they first walk in the doors, you got to, but once you get to know them, we're not afraid to say that to them, and to give them a hug. And many of them have never had a hug in their lives. Many of them have never heard that at all, They've always been told that they're waste of space, they're useless, they're no good, they'll never make anything of their lives. Always been told that, even from their own family, and to hear those words that they are really, really precious and they are loved,
And just to continue with the toilet stories, they all love Brian, they do. It's where's Brian? Where's Brian? And when he goes to the toilet, there's a queue in there waiting for him. You can't even go to the toilet in peace.
Oh, dear me. Oh, dear.
So that's the end of the toilet stories. There's no more.
Anyway,
Well, I think we found our level there, haven't we? Really, so that's that's great.
Moving on.
So you don't get any peace, is what they're saying. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought it was bad with
Moving
kids,
on.
but obviously you've continued that into some adults as well. So clearly they have fantastic relationships with yourselves and value you again for all that. Not what you can give them, but who you are and the love that you show them, as well as providing for their practical kind of needs. And it sounds like, I was going to say earlier, that the Moses Project has almost come like an oasis, a refuge, a place where they can feel safe, away from the reality of their lives and the addictions and real challenges and things like that. And it's amazing to hear, obviously, the success stories. You've mentioned a few already, and I'm sure you could go on and on and on. And I just want to put what Adele has put on posted as well. That amazing God, it's great blessing people, He's blessed you, blessing others, and making a real difference in people's lives, practically speaking. Because practically showing the love of Jesus in lots of different ways, and catering for their physical needs, emotional needs, but also, like you said earlier, Stella, their spiritual needs as well.
Adele came to. Adele is one of our volunteers, by the way.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
And her and her husband came. I'm sure Adele won't mind me saying. Adele came to us. Her and her husband weren't Christians at all, and they didn't know about church, didn't go to church. Now, both Adele and her husband can't keep away from church. Just to make
And on Sunday, Lee gets baptised. Adele's already baptised, but on Sunday, Lee gets him.
Right, amazing, amazing.
And they were really touched in Stockton Connect as well, weren't
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Yeah.
But Lee is the main one that's changed, you know. Lee was like full of hurt and anger and that inside, but to see him now is different again. Different again. It just, yeah, his eyes are just so, yeah, just shines
Amazing.
from him. Amazing to see him. Amazing to see him. Yeah.
And you know, I have to say from a personal
by the way, as well. I'm not saying
It's
anything,
not, but we're breaking confidence.
but like Lee's own words, he gets up and tells people that. You know?
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
I'm so grateful, like, you know, obviously, I talked about being able to visit Foundation House.
I'm so grateful. Let you know, obviously, I talk about.
That happens to be my Siri on my watch, just having a little conversation with me there. Okay. Sorry about that. I should have put that on mute. There we go. I wondered what that strange voice was for a moment. I wondered, was that an angel? I don't know.
Divine intervention.
Yeah, maybe. But what I was going to say before Siri interrupted, there's a comedy moment, isn't it? I had the fantastic opportunity. I was invited personally to come, you know, and to be involved in one of the Connect meetings, and you know, because you know, I've shared before that, you know, I'm a musician and help lead in the kind of songs and music and worship and that side of things, and you know, and obviously I jumped at the opportunity, and having known a few people, and you know, and it's something that you know, it's amazing to see just the snapshot that I get when at the times I visit on a Thursday night. You can see the great, fantastic work that's going on, and the difference it's making in people's lives. You know, and again, you've got those that you know have made the decision to know Jesus themselves, and you know obviously have that relationship and you know become a Christian and so on. And those are maybe are on a journey. Some have maybe come for the food and different motivations. Some maybe kind of come along, you know, a few times and maybe you're starting to think about it. And it's been great to have, you know, some conversations as well, just meet people and just, you know, like you said, without pressuring, and just kind of having a chat and getting to know people. And I think it's great. And, you know, I've really missed a number of things. I'm sure we all have over, you know, the last couple of years disrupted by COVID and restrictions and things like that. And of course, we still need to continue to be safe, but we're really looking forward to, because you said the first Connect back again is tomorrow night.
Yes.
Tomorrow
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
we're just doing it with the lads and girls from the streets just at the moment for the first one.
Yeah.
We haven't advertised it or pushed it at the moment.
Yeah.
So we just want to concentrate on them for the first one, because we can't. I mean, normally at Connect, as you know, we can have 80, 90 people in plus, you know. So we want to keep it a bit. Just because of COVID, that's all. We want to keep it lucky and aim for the people from the streets, you know. Yeah. It's really to test out our systems as well, our COVID systems, and our COVID rules, and make sure that everything works well. You know, and everyone knows what they're doing, all the stuff. So yeah. So within a few weeks, we'll push it and start getting a few more numbers in. Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, Margaret's posted here, and I totally agree that, you know, and you are living this out, you're doing this stuff, you know, you kind of love goes a long way, and however that love is expressed, you know, emotionally, spiritually, practically, doing this stuff, and you know, I totally agree, and I think, you know, honestly, I say this almost every time, it's getting to be a bit of a cliche, but I'm fascinated. We could go on and talk for hours and hours about this. But unfortunately, we don't have hours and hours. You know, we've got, it's about, we've got about 5 minutes or so before we're looking to kind of wrap up for tonight. And I wanted to make sure, obviously, to give people, maybe who are watching this live now, or maybe see it, you know, maybe catch up with it a little bit on demand later on. But, you know, obviously, you've got fantastic work happening at the Moses Project, and I wanted to give people opportunity to know how they can get involved in some ways to support the work, and what kind of ways that they can do that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put you on full screen. I'm just going to go back to those contact details again, which obviously we've got the logo on there.
Oh, it's the wrong number.
They've got the wrong phone number there.
Okay, so what I would say there, then, apologies for that. I just got that off your website, so maybe we should, you know...
no, you wouldn't have got that from our website.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I might have typed it in wrong, but there we go. So let me take that out, and let me go back to... It may well be one of my typo errors on there. So ignore the number. If we ignore the number,
I'll
I
check
tell you what,
our
I will
website
correct
out.
it and put that in there. But what
It's
about
not
the
the
email
first
address
one.
and the website address? Are those are correct?
That's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
The telephone number, the landline, is 688-901.
So 688-901.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Voila, done. Okay,
There
so
we
I'm
are.
glad we've been able to
Instant.
get that
Yeah.
updated.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've got the right one there. So, okay,
The
now we've gone over
centre's
that
open
hurdle.
Tuesday to Friday. It's not open on the Monday. That's when we go on the outreach work, and that's when they do the walk and talk project.
Ah, right,
So
okay.
Tuesday to Friday we're there.
Okay,
So people can help us in many different ways.
Yeah.
First of all, they can pray for us.
Most important.
They can pray for us. Funding, we would love it if people can and get in touch with us as well and do it through the website. We'd love it if people can just pay £5 a month or £10 a month into us. That would be a massive help.
Yeah.
With one £5 note, you can't even get 2 copies these days. But if lots of people give us £5 a month, we can change lives with that completely. Then there's different volunteers. Just come along, make teas and coffees, come along, get involved in the drop-in. We can train you up to be a frontline worker. There's all sorts of different scope to volunteer there as well.
I actually feel that God's saying to us at the moment, behold, I do a new thing. And I think that new thing is about going out to people. We've had a taste of that during COVID.
Yeah.
So instead of bringing them in, we're going out.
Yeah.
So if we could train up some outreach workers to go out,
Yeah.
professionally presented to help people and know the systems, that would be good.
Yeah.
I know it's Darlington, but you don't know who's listening, do you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting for me that I've talked about this before a number of times, really, in these kind of episodes, that I'm still getting used to, although it's been a couple of years now, I'm still getting used to, because I live in Hartburn, right next to the A66, and I always say I've been used to, for a long time, turning left onto the A66 to head towards Stockton and Middlesbrough and that way. And God's calling me to, He's called me a couple of years ago to kind of turn right, but I'm still allowed to go left. And so, any opportunities I go left with, great. But obviously, God is doing so much in lots of different ways. And it may well be, like you said, we've got the Moses project in Stockton and lots of fantastic work there. But there are many other organisations like Junction 7 doing things in Newton Aycliffe and so on, around the area. So, obviously, I know we're highlighting the work that you're doing. But, again, if there's a similar organisation, if you're being stirred, and maybe in your locality, where your community, where they're doing a similar kind of work, then that would be great. If you get involved there as well. All right. Yeah. But at the very least, like you said, you started off by saying people, can at least pray, and like anything else, the reality is money goes a long way. You need finance to run things like this, and so if you can commit maybe something, monthly, whatever size that may be, I'm sure it's all going to help and go towards expanding the work of the Moses Project and so on. And then, of course, if you're able to devote some time, then you can go in and like you said, there's training available. I'm sure you won't just let people loose. There's like anything else.
No, we can't.
No, sure, exactly. From obviously we want the right kind of person and to make sure that they are safe and for themselves and obviously for the people that come along to the the Moses Project and everything else like that. So I'm sure there's lots of different roles and different people suit different roles and obviously training is important in all of that. Like you say, it is so important. Listen, I've really enjoyed spending some time with you tonight, and I'm even over the moon now. This is amazing, people. Okay, all right, this is a highlight. I'm just going to put something on screen here, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Even Ma Dixon, has commented on live on Facebook for us. She's really enjoyed it and so on. And this is amazing. So, it's great to have and my mother, there we go, reflects what people are really thinking. You're an amazing couple, Brian and Stella, and God is doing so much through the Moses Project and through you as a couple. and bless you all, and that you can see lives transformed and changed in practical ways, through the love of Jesus has been demonstrated through yourselves and the many partner organisations and so on. Thanks so
God's
much.
Project.
So
Yeah, it's God's project. It's not ours, it's God's.
Yeah.
And He's opening the doors.
Absolutely. Well, you play a big part, because we co-labour with God, don't we? You play a big part in that project as well, but He's working through you and through the many other volunteers and things like that as well. You've got the vision on the throne. Obviously, that. So, Adele has just popped a comment on that. I'm just going to put it on screen. Amazing guy, so caring couple. We appreciate you. All right. Obviously, there's a lot of love for you too as a couple. Like you've said already, Brian can't even go to the loo in peace because people are queuing up to spend time with him. Not in the most appropriate places by the sounds of things, but that kind of reflects what people think about you. You're an amazing couple, and if you're watching this and you want to know more, I'm sure you can, if you just search, obviously, on Facebook for the Moses Project, let me just put those details on there again. Get in touch with Brian and Stella in different ways. We've now got the right number on there. Apologies for that. But get in touch, and, if you want to know more, I'm sure they'll be happy to answer your questions and queries, and how you can support them. Even if you can't devote time towards them, like we've already mentioned, there's different ways to be able to do that.
We do have a Facebook page as well, so they can follow us on Facebook.
Absolutely. And that's a really good way, isn't it, to keep up to date with all of the amazing things, because like you say, I do that, and it's brilliant to kind of keep in touch in some form, but when it's safe to do so, when the Moses Project is ready to be up and running fully, taking its time, understandably, about restrictions and coming out of COVID restrictions, when it's available to work, obviously fully, then get yourself down. I'm sure you'll be absolutely welcome, and get yourself down there to know, start belonging to the Moses Project family, like you said. Have you enjoyed it? Has it been okay? Has it been all right?
Yes, it's gone very quickly, just like you said.
It does, doesn't it? It does. And there's just so much more that we can talk about. But people, you need to get in touch with Brian and Stella and the Moses Project and find out more about what they're doing.
By all means.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
All right. Thank you. Bless you. If you two want to hang on, I'm just going to finish off the programme with this outro, and then I'll have a chat with you afterwards as well, and we can have a.
Can I just say quickly, even if people want to come and have a look around and see what they do, they're welcome to do that as well.
Okay. Well worth going. All right. Bless you all. Thank you very much. We'll have another episode next week with another organisation. And I always say this, I always kind of get to this point and say, I've got guests lined up all the way up until October time plus, but I can never remember who they are, and I should really look at my list before we do this. But there's somebody else coming up next week who's going to be just as interesting, I'm sure, as this amazing couple. So thank you ever so much for being with us tonight. Tune in 8 o'clock next week. Thank you, Brian and Stella. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.